Thank you for your interest in the Team Fitness tool. Through this quick demo, you'll discover how you can use this tool to effectively assess the performance of your team against the behaviors and practices we have found over 30 years to make the biggest difference in a team's ability to perform at their very best. You'll also be able to take a look at the various reports that are generated by this tool, generated in clear and actionable formats so that you and your team can quickly take action to improve performance. And what's most unique about this tool is that it generates team development solutions targeting the specific areas your team identifies as requiring improvement. So you and your team can get beyond, now what do we do? With the use of these team exercises, you can take immediate and ongoing action to achieve improved results. And this tool provides a complete process at your fingertips to ensure your team takes ownership of ensuring they sustain and improve their performance over the long term. So let's jump into the Team Fitness tool so you can take a look at it. As soon as you purchase your assessments, you'll immediately gain access to our online portal. You sign in, and you will have access to your own personal team development system. From this system, you can add any number of teams, assess any number of teams, track their performance, and use the team development exercises to ensure team members are working effectively together to improve their performance over the long term. You have a complete team development system at your fingertips. So I'm going to walk you through step by step how easy it is to use this tool. So your very first step would be to create a team. So let's create a new one. Let's call it Sample Team. Okay, so you create your team name. Then you add your team members, okay? So all you're capturing is first name, last name, email address, okay? So let's add me, okay? Create user, and I'm gonna add another person here because we need 2 people to be able to create a team. So it's as simple as that. All you're capturing is first name, last name, email address, and your team is set up. Your very next step is to simply schedule an assessment for your team. You're using the Team Fitness assessment. You name your assessment. Let's call it the first assessment. You're assessing the sample team, but if you have multiple teams on here, maybe you lead a number of teams, or you're using the tool to lead team development processes across the organization. You can choose the team you want to assess from this drop-down box. You select the date you want to launch it. We're going to launch it today. Today is a new year. It's January 4th, 2019, and we are going to launch the assessment right now. But you can also assess or schedule it, to launch anytime in the future, and the system will launch it for you. Then you send a message to your team. Hey team, as we discussed, please complete this within the next 2 weeks. The system includes a number of resource guides and gives you the key messaging to include in your email to your team. So then you schedule the assessment, and your assessment will be launched right away. Each of your team members will receive a unique link to their own assessment. The assessment is 35 questions and measures each of the 7 elements of a high-performance team, and you'll get a sense of what that looks like in a minute. The system also allows you to send reminder emails. Now, while each person's responses are completely anonymous and you won't know who has completed it and who hasn't, the system knows who has and hasn't completed the assessment. So you can send reminder emails, and only the individuals who have not yet completed the assessment will receive the email. So you won't be inundating people's inboxes. Now, you'll see here it tracks how many people have completed it. As soon as the last person completes the assessment, your results will be generated, and you'll see the name of the assessment will turn blue. Or you can choose to close the assessment at any time, and as soon as you hit close, your results are generated. So let's take a look at what those results look like. This is an example of a sample team that completed the assessment. And on this page, you have a high-level overview of how the team has scored themselves against each of the 7 elements of a high-performance team. Each element is scored out of 20. Each element is measured by 5 questions, 5 items on the assessment on a Likert scale of 4. So this graph here gives you a sense of how the team scored each of the elements. Below, you see more detail. You see each of the team fitness elements that are measured, the team average, the standard deviation, the range of scores, and the priority ranking. Now, the range of scores is very helpful because this tells you, for example, for change compatibility, that at least one person on this team scored that element a 9, and at least one person scored it a 15. So a wide range of scores tells you that there are differing perspectives and different experiences within the team with respect to how the team manages change, for example. Now, the system ranks the elements in order of priority based on the lowest scoring element. So for this team, they identified change compatibility as the lowest scoring element, meaning it has the greatest opportunity for improvement. So the system ranks it a 1. And as you'll see in a minute, the system generates all of your team development tools targeting the 3 elements that receive the lowest score, so your team's top 3 priorities. So we'll take a look at that in a second. Below, you have the interpretation of what the scores mean. What it means if your team scored an element below 11 or below 14, etc. So you have all the information you need here. This is also all downloadable into a PDF report that you can share with your team. And this report includes almost all of the information that's shared online, okay? And I'll share a little bit of some of those differences in a minute. If you would like a sample report, please reach out to me and I'd be happy to send you one, okay? Now, all of the data is also downloadable into Excel. So if you love making different types of charts, you're able to do that. All of the raw data is available to you in Excel. Okay? So let's go to the next page, which is your detailed data. Now on this page, we've sorted it so that it's easy for you, for the leader, to jump in and see immediately where the team's top scoring statements are. This is where the team identifies their core strengths. So for example, this team has identified that they believe their team members respect one another, that each team member pulls his or her weight, that each team member has an equal voice, and that there's a feeling of openness and trust in their team. Then below, you have the lowest 5 scoring statements, and they've identified areas around change and cohesiveness that need improvement. So from a team and leader perspective, it's easy to hop in here and quickly do a check and see where your team's core strengths are and where the opportunities for improvement lie, so that you can focus your team's attention on the areas that will bring maximum results. And then below, you have all of the items that are measured, all of the questions, behaviors, practices that are measured. So the top one here, you'll see shared leadership. Each team member has an equal voice. Team members are ranking that statement on a scale of 1 to 4. And you see here the distribution of scores. So while people's responses are anonymous, you can still get a sense of how many people scored each item a 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay? Now, this ranking information here, the distribution of scores, is not included in the PDF report. That's just too much information for your team members and it will be a distraction. But it's helpful for you, the leader, or perhaps you're an OD consultant or HR business partner or internal facilitator. This gives you a sense of where people are at within the team. Okay? You can sort this table by element or by team average. And then, of course, you can download all of this data into Excel, and it's there for you to sort and use in any number of ways. Now, if we go back to the results page, the reports page, you can also track and compare your team's performance over time. So we recommend that teams assess themselves every 4 to 6 months because this really helps them maintain that accountability and momentum and focus on continuous improvement. And so in this drop-down box here, you can compare with past results. So for the national marketing team, you can see an improvement in their results over time. And you can also, should you be managing this within OD or HR, you can include multiple teams in your system, and you would be able to compare and track teams across the organization so that you can identify opportunities for learning. You may know that some massive change is coming down to the organization, and through this system you see that a number of teams are struggling with change management. This could prompt you to develop a managing change program, for example, so that you in learning or HR can be proactive in developing the training and support necessary to support your teams. Okay, so that's the data portion. At the end of the assessment, we also have an open-ended question that simply states, please share anything else you would like about the effectiveness of your team. And it comes through in the comments. And again, this is anonymous, so it doesn't include anybody's name, but this is also very helpful information to create context around the why behind the data, which can be especially useful if you are external to the team facilitating the process so that you get a sense of historical context or the qualitative aspects that may be missed behind the data. Now, what's most unique about this system is that, as I said, it generates all of your team development guides, targeting the areas requiring the most improvement. So for this team, they identified shared leadership, cohesiveness, and change compatibility. And each element generates at least 4 different team development exercises of varying lengths. Some are 10 minutes, some are half an hour. We have exercises up to 3 hours. So if you're a leader, you can use these exercises within your team meetings or during an offsite where you have more time and you can combine exercises. Or if you're an HR or OD professional, you have 2 full days worth of content here. And you can create a full day or 2-day workshop or multiple half-day sessions so that you have all the curriculum you need to lead teams through an ongoing team development process. And each of these exercises are designed so that anybody can facilitate them. You do not need to be an expert facilitator to lead these exercises. So let's hop in and take a look at one of them. This is a 30 to 45-minute exercise I'm going to show you called the Art of Letting Go. And the purpose of this exercise is to strengthen the change compatibility by improving team members' ability to let go of attitudes or old issues that may be impacting their ability to effectively manage change. So in all of our exercises, we include the objective and some background. We don't expect you to be an expert in change management. So we give you just enough information so that you can lead a productive, quality conversation with your team and generate some real dialogue. So this exercise is based on a story, okay? So the first step, materials required. We share the materials required that you need so that you're prepared. Then step 1, you read the following story, and then we handhold you virtually through this guide, and we share what to ask, right? Ask this. This is the likely response you'll get. Then ask this question. These are the likely responses you get. Then ask this question, and then say this. So we handhold you. Okay, so it has the guide. If applicable, it also includes the team exercise. So in this example, team members are asked to identify a work-related change that has or will occur that they're not completely comfortable about. And then they're asked to reflect on this change and identify what thoughts come to mind and how they feel about it. Then they're prompted to examine old stuff that they're carrying around that may be affecting their ability to be open to this change. And then they're asked what they will let go of in order to be more open to the change that's coming. So this is a quick 30-minute exercise that can be used during a team meeting or part of a half-day session, for example. You have up to 12 different exercises to choose from, whether it's change compatibility, cohesiveness, or shared leadership, depending on where you believe and your team believes you need to start. The goal with this tool isn't to focus on all 7 areas. The focus is to choose one area and be fanatically focused on improving one of these 3 areas and using the tools to do so. Now you also have a resources section where you have your user guide that walks you through the entire tool. It includes key messaging and memos and templates to use to introduce the process to your team. You also have a roadmap. Okay, this walks you through how to use the tool, how to use the first 3 months to the best of your ability. Week 1, do this. Week 3, do this. Week 4, do this. Okay, a complete roadmap to successfully leading your team through a powerful team development process, whether you're a team leader or an HR or OD professional. You also have the team fitness guide. So if all you do is have your team complete the assessment, then bring them together for an hour to review and discuss the results. You have that here. As long as you ensure your team leaves this discussion session having identified what they're going to do differently. And as long as you use this 20-minute exercise to hold them accountable every 4 to 6 weeks, where you come back at a team meeting and you use this 20-minute exercise to focus their attention on the commitments to action they made when they first reviewed their team assessment results together. If all you do is use the assessment, discuss the results, and use this 20-minute exercise every 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to see improvement. Ideally, though, you're also taking advantage of all of the exercises that are generated and enabling your team to use them within team meetings. Now, if you're an HR or OD professional, this system we have found, we've been informed by other OD and HR professionals, this system saves them 40 hours of development time per team because it does so much of the work for you. So if you would like more information, if you would like a sample report or a more personalized demo or a sample of an exercise that's generated by this tool, please reach out to me through our website, teamfitnesstool.com, and we will be happy to provide you with any information you need. Thanks very much.